Trudeau is raising taxes on everything in your life on April 1st, in the middle of the worst economic crisis since 1929. We are fighting back, and we need your help to stop the carbon tax. No politician should be making life more expensive for families and businesses in this Chinese coronavirus recession. It's bad out there, friends, and it's getting worse by the minute. Just look at these headlines. Nearly half of Canadian households have lost work due to the COVID-19 shutdown, new poll finds. Of the people who have lost work, 66% say their employer isn't covering any of the lost hours. Nearly 70% have already applied for EI. More than 2 in 5 Canadian households have already lost work due to the COVID-19 crisis, and 1 in 5 say they are expecting it to happen any time now, a new poll by the Angus Reid Institute has found. 1 in 3 businesses in Canada say they cannot survive the current coronavirus pandemic conditions for more than a month, according to a new survey. According to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, 60% of small businesses have seen a significant drop in sales, with more than a third reporting a reduction greater than 75%. More than half of small firms have begun laying off staff, with a quarter reporting they have already been forced to lay off their entire workforce, CFIB President Dan Kelly said. Coronavirus recession. BC economy could shrink 7 to 12%, analyst warns. Both those numbers would be unprecedented, even the lower one in terms of a decline in economic activity, Council President Jock Finlayson told CKNW Radio Tuesday. British Columbia is headed into a potentially nasty recession, according to the latest analysis from the Business Council of BC. Finlayson said even the 7% figure would be the same as about 3 times the impact of the Great Recession in 2009. We're devastated. COVID-19 dries up tourism industry. Thousands laid off in mountain towns. A normal March afternoon in downtown Revelstoke, BC would be absolute pandemonium with skiers and snowboarders looking for a meal or some drinks, said Mayor Gary Sauls. All the streets would be full. There would be no place to park, he said. Not so this past week. Pretty much all of our downtown merchants have closed their stores. It's like a ghost town downtown, the mayor said. Hundreds laid off. Thousands of jobs delayed in Alberta oil sands. Jay Buchart, regional director for the Christian Labour Association of Canada, CLAC, in Fort McMurray said. He takes dozens of calls every day from people who are desperate for work. This is really having an impact on a lot of people's lives, Buchart said. Within CLAC alone, at least 500 oil sands workers have been laid off as companies scale back operations during the COVID-19 pandemic. Suncor and Syncrude are reducing their on-site workers to essential employees only and have delayed projects to try to minimize the number of employees on site. WestJet, laying off 6,900 workers amid worsening COVID-19 crisis. The Calgary-based airline had about 14,000 employees before the coronavirus outbreak. The Calgary-based airline said Tuesday that 90% of those employees are leaving voluntarily. And Air Canada lays off more than 5,000 flight attendants amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, those are just a few of the latest headlines. Here is what all those headlines really mean in reality. Nearly 1 million Canadians filed for employment benefits last week alone. Those numbers represent about 5% of Canada's entire labor force. And yet, Parliament is giving itself a raise right now. Those numbers, those are 1 million breadwinners out of work. 1 million families are in real economic danger. Do you think this is going to get any better by next week? People still have to pay their rent, their phone bills, their mortgages, buy groceries, take care of their kids, and make their car payments. Canadians need reprieve, and they need help. Now, maybe more than ever. The carbon tax was already ruled unconstitutional in a Court of Appeals challenge raised by the Alberta government, yet the carbon tax is increasing from $20 a ton to $30 a ton on April 1st. Trudeau is raising the one tax that touches everything in our lives when we need tax relief the most, and he's raising it by 50%, while at the same time 1 million families are touched by brand new employment last week alone. The economy is being hammered. Families are facing unemployment, bankruptcy, and poverty. And any government raising taxes on these folks would be laughed at by the international community for doing something so dumb, or scorned for their shameless cruelty in the face of the coronavirus human crisis. But that is exactly what Trudeau and his Liberals are doing. At Rebel News, we've had some recent success bringing awareness to an issue that matters to Canadians. And because of the pressure we helped all of our viewers and supporters put on Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, surprisingly, he listened. We wanted Trudeau to close the border at Roxham Road to illegal, unvetted migrants who are not being held or screened, and it looks like Trudeau has done just that. You can see all of Keane's coverage and his pressure campaign on the government at closetheborder.ca. Let's start putting pressure on Justin Trudeau again and see if it works. Let's remind Justin Trudeau that raising the carbon tax in one of the worst economic times in perhaps all of Canadian history is a terrible idea, and it will ruin lives and cause even more layoffs. Our plan is to start with a petition because it worked last time with Roxham Road. We are calling on the federal government to stop this 50% hike in the carbon tax as Canada spirals into a recession at a time when 1 million jobs were lost in just 1 week. Please go to stopthecarbontax.com to add your name to the list of Canadians who agree that raising taxes in an economic, health, and human crisis is greedy, cruel, and economically illiterate. Please go to stopthecarbontax.com to sign today. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Help us send a message to Justin Trudeau and his Liberals that hiking a tax that touches on everything in your life by 50% in the middle of a health, human, and economic crisis is greedy, economically illiterate, and cruel. Please go to stopthecarbontax.com to sign our petition today.